Did I send you the video of Dan Campbell talking about Brian Branch?
I haven't watched it yet. It should be in there.
You did. Yep. Would you mind playing that?
You know, Branch is a guy who's got a lot of flexibility and versatility in what he can do. You know, certainly we know he can play the nickel position, but just safety. You know, look, you can make a lot of plays at the nickel and produce in this defense, but safety is. I mean, you're talking about you got a lot of freedom within the structure, within the system to really. I mean, you talk about making plays. You can make some plays there. So we just feel like, man, Branch, it could suit him well and give him a chance to see where he can go with it. You know. But we talked about it before. That's what this is. You know, we have options now, and we got some guys that we think pretty highly of in the secondary room, and it's all about finding the best combination of, you know, who's certainly outside, nickel, safety, and so we're just going to keep moving them and mixing them in, and you know, we had E-Man out there at nickel yesterday. You know, we know Meek will be back out there today working some nickel. You know, if he's in competition at safety, I mean, we're going to find our 4 or 5 best DBs that are going to go on the field.
The first couple words that left his mouth: flexibility, versatility. Like, we know that this is what this coaching staff values, what they look for. They want guys who can do multiple things, wear multiple hats, because if someone goes down, you've got someone you trust at that position, and you can just move them around. And you have like he said, you need your 5 best DBs on the field at all times. So whether it's Emmanuel Mosley, whether it's Amik Robertson, whether it's Ife Melifonwu, whoever gets the starting spot wherever, I'm pretty sure safeties are locked. Like Kirby Joseph and Brian Branch are going to be your starting safeties. So we'll see what happens going forward with the nickel spot. But you're in good hands when you know that these guys are competing against themselves. They're going to bring the best out of themselves because you've got a deep defensive back room now. It's not Kendall Vildor and Starling Thomas fighting for spots. It's Emmanuel Mosley and Ife Melifonwu. So it's a lot better than it was last year.
Anybody in the room have an issue with that?
No.
Like I see it on Twitter often. Kev Bell in the chat yesterday was kind of bitching about it, the move for Brian Branch to that safety position. Like, I'm just trying to understand. Okay, I really don't know where the holdup is for that side of the crowd.
I think, to play devil's advocate, he was so successful as a rookie in the role he was in. But I think he's great. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
Okay,
I know, but
don't
like,
come attack me.
Damn it, Nick. No, but like for people that's what their thought process. Look at what Ife Melifonwu did at that spot. Like, you put Brian Branch and give him the same opportunities that Ife Melifonwu was given, those sacks are going to turn into strip sacks. Those interceptions are going to turn into pick sixes. Like, no disrespect to Ife Melifonwu. You had a great end of the season, but Brian Branch is a different animal. And if you put that type of player back there and AG can use him how he was using Iffy, where he floats him around, he sends him on blitzes, he has him close to the line of scrimmage, he is going to do some damage.
Yeah, and I don't want to, like, and you're right. Like, obviously, Brian Branch, that's a perfect way to put it, right? Imagine what Iffy did, then you had Brian Branch. But I'm still not down with necessarily discrediting what Iffy did. I think they're going to compete for this job, and the best going to get it. And if Brian Branch ends up back at the nickel, like, he has that luxury. That's the flexibility that he was talking about. That's the versatility. That's what he likes to talk about. That's why you drafted a Brian Branch. That was a star position that he played at Alabama. That's a star position that Terry Arnold played at Alabama at times, and that's why they come in so pro-ready. They play the nickel. They play the safety. They move around freely. Last year, not even last year, but even a couple weeks ago, we played a video of Alex Anzalone, of him talking about on the podcast. Yeah, his role kind of developed to where he can kind of roam back there and decide what he wants to do. And to Nick's point on Devil's Advocate is, like, he can still move up forward and play somebody up tight if he wants to. He can still decide to blitz at that point if he wants to. And I think I set this same standard for you guys. Maybe not a standard. That's definitely the wrong word for what I'm about to say. But just like the way to articulate it, it's going to sound crazy. I said that before. Troy Polamalu.
Yeah.
Troy Polamalu was kind of able to
did.
roam freely, do what he needed to do because he was just that much aware of the game. That's what Brian Branch can be allowed to do at the safety position. I got no issues with it.
I'll just say, my bad.
Go ahead.
And a more like recent example is like Jalen Ramsey in when they was calling the star position on the Rams, where he was just roaming around doing everything, like going from the number one, then going to the nickel, then going to like basically lining up like a rush linebacker and all that type of stuff because he just that dynamic. So it's like when you have players that's dynamic and can do things and impact the games in so many different ways. It's like you would be, I guess, hindering them and the team by holding them back, by not letting them do all that. So it's like he probably will be, at some point be playing more safety, but they probably will let him just roam around, like you said, and just let him have that free reign and just use his instinct, basically.
Xavier D says in the Woodward Sports chat, taking Iffy off the field seems like a mistake. And for sure, like Iffy, we loved the production he had last year, but I talk about it, I bring it back to this every single time. One of the best coaches in football in the biggest game of the year specifically said we ran different offensive sets to get Brian Branch off of the field. That was Kyle Shanahan of the 49ers in the NFC Championship game. He said we did different things in our offensive game plan to get Brian Branch off the field as much as possible because he is that much of a difference maker.
Oh, it's interesting.
And I love what Iffy did. Nobody's saying that about Iffy Melifonwu. Like you need Brian Branch on the field. I've said it multiple times. He needs to play 90+% of the snaps defensively for the Detroit Lions this year. And if that means Iffy Melifonwu seeing less time, I'm comfortable with that.
Yeah, I don't disagree with what Xavier's saying either. It just that's the part where if the other camp's saying, hey, we want Branch at nickel until it's a situation where their game plan to have him off the fild, then
that's what that was mine.
Yeah, and I'm cool with that. I have no issue with that because I do think Ifeanyi Melifonwu was extremely effective last year. And I truly don't expect him to grow and kind of learn some of those things like naturally, which I think he started to last year. We played the clip of the podcast, at least I had on my Twitter this weekend. Like, yeah, AG would have him call him in the office for half hour, an hour, him and Kirby, give him like these certain looks they see in certain packages, and that play will be there for you to make. And he just kept the cash in on those plays. And I think he only developed, remember some of those situations naturally on top of just learning more. I mean, it's a beautiful issue to have. The Detroit Lions secondary, at least it comes like the safeties and whatnot, they're set, baby. I'm fucking ready for the season to start. I'm ready to see what Terrion Arnold's bringing as a cornerback. Like, just him even starting as a rookie to me is super fucking impressive. I know we saw the rest of camp and battles like the fall through, whatever, but like the fact that he's still outside right now, starting right away,
yeah,
that's some promise. You know what I'm saying? Because you know this team ain't fucking just handing that shit out. Jack Campbell, another first round pick, actually drafted earlier before Terrion Arnold was to his respective position. He didn't see the field.
Yeah.
Everyone's bitching about Jack Campbell. Same thing with Jahmyr Gibbs. It took even earlier. So, like, the fact that Terrion is, boom, right now, ready to go.
Who's going to play over him, though?
So that's the thing is you can say that conversation like last year, but this year, you got Carlton Davis, you got Amik Robinson, you do have Emmanuel
Carlton
Mosley.
Over him already. Like, ain't Carlton the number one?
Yeah.
He is technically number one, yeah.
So, yeah.
But still the fact that he's starting, like, because we still got Emmanuel Mosley. You still have Amik Robinson.
I wouldn't have put Emmanuel Mosley over him. Amik Robinson, they already got him slated to be, like, that nickel corner, slot corner type guy, like.
But he can play outside. He played outside last year.
Yeah, no, you can.
Like, I think that was his expectation coming in.
It's just more so
him
like
and Cam Sutton.
It's just more so like I think you draft. What was it? 24th. You draft Terrion at 24th. So
yeah,
it's more so you want to just throw him into the flame, basically. Like, I guess that's the best way for a player to learn. Like, just put him out there.
And he doesn't have the pressure on him to be that number one guy because you got your number one in Carlton Davis.
Yeah.
And truthfully, unless Carlton's actually shadowing someone to follow him across the field, receivers are going to line up different spots.
I really think they're going to have Carlton Davis go on the big guy. Whether it's Keenan Allen, the taller, longer receiver, Justin Jefferson, Christian Watson, Keenan Allen. Those guys, that's who is going to be tasked with, or Carlton Davis is going to be tasked with.
But to your point, though, is like they've had that situation with Gibbs, they had that situation with Campbell, and they didn't do it that way. It's not like these guys don't know what they're doing because we've seen them turn out successful draft pick after successful draft pick. So, like,
but to that,
the fact that he's ahead of the curve, that's definitely like a hat off. That's definitely like a sign.
No, I definitely feel that. But I was going to say, also to that point, though, it's like Anzalone and Barnes were, I guess, more solid options. And you could suffice with letting them play and to let Jack Campbell learn. And then, like, David Montgomery was definitely putting in good work for us. So it's like.
And all of those guys.
Derek Barnes he didn't know what the hell was going on.
All of those guys are.
He's praying to God. Dead ass, though.
All those secondary players,
we
their
did
first year with the
struggle a lot.
Lions. That might play a reason, too.
What?
Like, this is Meek's first year with the team. This is Terrion's first year with the team. Emmanuel Mosley. Pretty much his first year with the team, like so none of these, like Derek Barnes had been in the system for a little while. Anzalone had been in the system for a little while. Even, David Montgomery hadn't either.
Malcolm.
So, yeah, it definitely, I'm with you. It says a lot that he's out there starting, but I also agree with Joel.
No,
like,
that's a good point. I mean, those
there
guys,
isn't
those positions are
an
better.
outside piece really that you'd be like, all right, that's the guy going over Terrion.
Yeah, and I also look at Emmanuel Mosley different than a lot of people too. That's been clear as day.
We sleeping on Ennis, man. We sleeping on Ennis.
Yeah.
That's another guy too, right? If you're throwing rookies in the fire, why didn't he get a starting spot somewhere? You know,
Well,
he probably gonna get a lot of playing time for sure though.
where at?
Shit. I mean, corner's a spot that you're gonna have to swap out a lot, so probably just getting reps that way.
Maybe not as much as receiver.
I'm saying, I get what you're saying in that, but it's like teams now are spraying out they spraying out their offense so much they going out with just 5 receiver look. So it's like you gotta match up. So you probably gonna that's what I'm saying. He probably get reps in ways
time
like that.
package or something.
Yeah.
Before we get off Brian Branch completely, when he talks about his like instincts and letting him roam free, is there a safety that you guys see, like maybe a comp like to that, like his instincts kind of compare to anybody like big superstars in the league previously? Because we've seen it with like some of the best corner or the safeties that you think of as like a Troy Polamalu, but I don't know what kind of like mold I like envision when I see a Brian Branch. I mean, because obviously he excels at closing speed.
You could say Buda Baker now.
I was gonna say
Buda
Brian
Dawkins.
Like, yeah, because like
Dawkins.
These are all crazy names. It's
like
not good
Brian
this kid is, though.
Dawkins. I mean, he is one of the best safeties of all time. So that's like
It's kind of unfair, but
pretty big bar to set. But
a slower Derwin James.
I've seen Brian Branch fuck people up over the middle and in the backfield and like lay hits. Like his first play in
Earl Thomas.
Earl Thomas is a good one.
I
But
like
Earl
that.
Thomas is a free safety though. But his first play in preseason was him obliterating Cole Beasley on an out route.